Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bruce Konechny. Welcome to my podcast, One Man's Voice. Today is that infamous day that we see every year, April 15th, the last day to have your taxes done and be submitted. So today I want to talk to you not about taxes because there's a lot going on the news. I will tell you this, that those people who are doing their own taxes and are told that they can't use the Schedule A information anymore and are not filling out the Schedule A and paying taxes, your own fault. Because parts of the Schedule A are still used for your state tax. Now, a lot of people who have to pay tax, they got pay raises or they had a bonus throughout the year and they went from one tax bracket to another and never paid attention to the amount of taxes that they were paying. So at the end of the year, you pay. As I told most of my customers that owed, what we need to do is change the number of dependents on your W-2, W-4s to maybe single zero. Take more out if you can afford that. And that way, at the end of the year, you won't pay taxes. You'll get money back. But I digress because, like I said, I didn't want to talk about taxes this year or this time. So what is it that I want to talk about? How about internationalism? Internationalism. You know, there's a group out there called the Uranches. Now, the Uranch is part of an Urantia book. The book, which was created in 1932 and wasn't published till the 1950s, talks about nationalism, talks about a one world government, talks about everybody coming together as one people. And I made a comment on the website about that. And I said, now is not the time. And the reason being is, well, there's several reasons. One, people are still violent. And because they're still violent, their belief is held more than anyone's. And I'm talking about the Muslims. I'm talking about the Shiites that believe women should cover their heads, that they shouldn't work, they shouldn't be educated, and they will be beaten or burned or whatever they do to them in the streets if they disobey the laws of the Shiites. We can't have that in globalism or internationalism. We can't have it when we're trying to become a more moral and ethical world. And we have people like the Democratic Party that sit there and tell us that violence is okay because they're groups, the KKK, they're Antifa, they're out there being violent. Okay, speak your mind, show your opinions, be violent. We can't have that. And we can't have the extremists in the Muslim faith, going up, blowing up buildings and killing people and beheading people. All of this keeps us from globalism, keeps us from the one world government, keeps us from providing a better world for us. The other is that the Democrats want to open up the borders. They want sex trafficking coming into this country. They want child abuse coming into this country. They want drugs coming into the country. Why? Because they are the ones that will create a socialist nation here where we will become slaves to the Democratic Party. And moralism and our ethical codes are out the window. They're not going to be taken seriously enough. And they aren't now. Now, you see that you can't be anti-Semitic and you can't be anti-Muslim, but you can be anti-Christian. Urantia people understand that Jesus Christ is the answer, and to follow his teachings, just like the Christians and the Catholics, to follow his teachings, we're going to have a better world. But it's the people in power that are trying to destroy that teaching, trying to destroy the faith of Christianity and Catholicism. And in essence, and when you do that, they destroy Urantia belief. And in doing all of that, they promote Muslims. I remember when President Obama got up there and said he doesn't discriminate based on religion. And this was shortly after you're watching Christians over in the Middle East get their heads cut off. Stories about women being raped, children being raped and murdered. And so what does he do? Takes 90% Muslims and brings them to this country. Why? Because in order for things to work in a socialist world, you need to spread the Muslim faith throughout. And the Shiite faith, as you see by the Michigan representative, recognizes nothing about America. Some people did something wrong. What do you mean? The World Trade Center. Some people. It was Muslim extremists. What? And she's afraid to say that. She's afraid to say that. How can you have globalism or how can you have internationalism when people are like that are out there creating the separation of not only our country but the separation of the world, and who are promoting slavery? And the Shiites promote slavery. Women are nothing more than slaves to their husbands. They're property. That's what slaves are, property. And you have the Democrats here that are promoting slavery. Oh, you don't have to work. As OAC says, we'll pay you. You just do what we tell you to do. Slavery. That's what it's all about. We want to have a one world government as Christians. We know that. And that one world government is under the leadership of Jesus Christ when he comes back. But in order for that to happen, we've got to go through 1,000 years of hell, which I believe will start in 2030. And no matter what we try to do, they're going to create a one world government in 2030. And the ones who will be in charge will be the socialists in the UN. And we won't be a sovereign nation anymore. We will be part of globalism, the one world government under the Antichrist. That's already been written about 2,000 years ago. So understand that. It's coming. It's happening. What Christians and Catholics and Jews and the Urantia believers can do is postpone that by standing up and saying, no, this isn't going to happen until we beget a better world. But remember what the Bible tells us? We're going to be beheaded. We're going to be told we either take the mark or we die. That's like the Shiites. Join us or die. Isn't it? That's what they said. And that's why those people's heads were cut off, because they refused to accept the Shiite way. And they're more than willing to do it. We have a problem. And the problem is, and I said this to David in our Facebook exchange, is that we've turned our back on our faith. We've turned our back on the teachings of Jesus Christ. You know, because the church and the pulpit, and I've said this before, the pulpit tells you, turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek. Yes, turn the other cheek when it's on you. Someone criticizes you, slaps you, turn the other cheek, let them slap you. You know, Martin Luther King adopted that same philosophy when it came to the protest marches back in the 60s. Do not show violence. If they hit you, turn the other cheek, let them hit you again. And look what happened. Those that were doing the beatings looked like fools, idiots, and morons. And the Democrats had no other choice but to concede and pass the Civil Rights Act. And as I explained to someone else, if it wasn't for the Republicans, the Civil Rights Act would have never passed. The Democrats had control of Congress, and a lot of the Democrats refused to vote for it. They voted against it. So understand this. Violence, hatred that the Democratic Party promotes is what's keeping me from saying, let's go globalism. Let's go one world government. Because socialism is nothing more than a roundabout way to keep your people as slaves. Now, I've seen it. I've been there. I was in England. I had a nanny who needed to have her jaw adjusted for my kids. That wasn't for me. And it took them 3 years before she could go in to have the operation. 3 years she waited for this operation. And when she came back, she looked much better. But she told us she almost died on the table because they forgot to put the tube down her throat to suck the blood out when they broke the jaw. And she was gargling and choking on her own blood. So this is socialized medicine. You wait until they're ready for you. And what could happen in the time you're waiting? You could die. Why do you think they come to America? Socialism is nothing more than slavery. And there's no motive to do anything under socialism. When the government controls the medical, who does the investing into R&D? You see, that's what our companies do today here in America. They invest in new technologies. They invest in new drugs. The drug companies spend billions on R&D, while at the same time they also buy hospitals and doctors to push their pills so that they can make the money to do that. It's all going to go away because the government will take control of all of the businesses and they will take control of the profits. And those profits is what's going to pay for free school and free medical and whatever else they say that's going to be free. But also under socialism, there's redistribution of wealth from the rich. Now I have to laugh because Bernie Sanders is out there saying that he's attacking the rich. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a multimillionaire. And if he hated the rich so much, why does he have millions of dollars? Why does he have 3 homes? For the simple fact that under capitalism, he could have it. Is he going to give up 2 of those homes when it comes to socialism? Is he going to surrender his millions of dollars under socialism? No. And then Nancy Pelosi comes out and goes, we're, the Democratic Party, are not socialists. If you're not socialist, people, why did you elect socialists to the House of Representatives, AOC, and that dimwit up in Michigan, who's also a Muslim who wants to attack the American way? And why did you reelect Bernie Sanders? Why are you allowing him to go up as a Democrat to run for the presidency of the United States? If you're not a socialist country or socialist party, Nancy, why is the governor or the mayor of New York a socialist who won as a Democrat? Do you understand how your lying is being proven? Now, here's something else, and this is the last point I want to bring up. California wanted to split into like 2 or 3 states. But look at who is coming out of California. And the Californians are attacking our democratic way of life. Nancy Pelosi is one. And because of that, look at the different people underneath her who are from California, her accusers of Donald Trump of all of the different things. I have proof he colluded. There's no such law as collusion. So this moron continues to say that even after the Mueller report comes out and says there's no collusion. They want to destroy this country. Well, I sit there and say, listen, let's not let them break into 2 or 3 states. Let's do it a different way. Let's say we are expelling you from the United States of America. You are no longer part of America. and separate them. Then we can pull our military bases, we can pull our government offices, our tax offices, and we can leave those people for themselves and let the billionaires that live out in California and the millionaires that live out in California support a failing government system. Do you think they'll do that? No, no, because we're a compassionate people. If we're so compassionate, why isn't Nancy Pelosi and smirky Chuck Schumer building the wall? See, when there's a wall and there's no way to get into the country, people will not come here. They'll stay in their own country. Then we can take care of our own people. That's why I call for the arrest of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer on treason. When you build a wall, you stop the flow of drugs coming into this country, the opioid crisis that's killing thousands of Americans. When you build a wall, you stop sex trafficking. You limit pornography. And that's the next thing. If we are going to become globalists, we have to start establishing a new moral and an ethical code. And treating women as sex objects through pornography is not the way to do it. We need to destroy that industry. We need to put women up there where they belong. Otherwise, there's no sense in globalism because women will be nothing more than property and second-class citizens to be whores for the Democrats and anybody else who wishes to use and abuse them. Do we want that? No. We don't need ads and articles about how actresses and important people are sitting there saying that sex is okay, that having our 12 and 13-year-olds have sex is okay. But that's just the beginning of that topic. We'll talk about it more. This is Bruce Konechny. Thank you for listening. God bless each and every one of you. And listen, when it comes to yourself, if somebody does you wrong, turn the other cheek. But when it comes to the nation and the world, we need to stand up and fight back. God bless. Take care.